So today, I want to ask a question. If you're an entrepreneur, business owner, and you're growing a team, is it important to get the right person in terms of their traits, their values, their character? Or is it more important to get the person with the right skills, exceptional experience to complete the job to the highest standard? So that's the question today I'm going to be debating. If you're in management of people, if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, wannabe business owner, entrepreneur, keep on watching, keep on listening. Hope you find it useful. Welcome back to consecutive day 1741 of a diary of a Runpreneur. And today's topic is a question. Is it important to get the right person in terms of character, values, traits? Or is it more important to get the person with the right experience, the right skills, the right abilities to do the job to the highest possible standard? I'm not going to give you a trick question. It's not a case of, well, obviously it's important to get both. Yes, that would usually be the answer, but I'm going to veer towards one or the other. But before we get into the topic at hand, please don't forget that this is part of a fundraiser of saving the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultramarathon of run vlogging on consecutive days, barefoot style, the distance of a lap of the world. And the more people we get in front of, more money we raise, more children's lives we save, which is why I do this every single day. So back to the topic at hand. The question of, is it important to get the right person in terms of qualities, characteristics, personality type, values, traits? Or is it more important to get somebody with the right experience, the right skill set to be able to deliver the job to the highest possible standard? As I've stated in the beginning, I'm not going to just sit on the fence and say we want both. Well, in an ideal world, yes, we do want the better the person that fits with your beliefs and values, but also has the skills and qualities to do the job to the highest standard in an ideal world. But sometimes that ideal world doesn't exist, and we're then faced with a choice of what we value more: the right people in terms of how they fit, their characteristics, values, traits, or is it the right skills that we're trying to recruit, the right skill set, the right experience, so that that person can seamlessly slot in and complete the job to the highest possible standard? That's the question I want to debate today, and I'm going to go straight in with my opinion. For me, it's the right person in terms of their traits, values, characteristics, personality type. Why is that my answer? Well, ultimately, there's a big caveat here, depending on what the most important values or traits are to you and your business, if you pick them correctly, then you're going to pick a team of people who are going to be able to overcome adversity, overcome their so-called weaknesses, because they have the right beliefs, mindset to do so. So let's give you a slightly different analogy here. So for my sins, I'm a Manchester United football fan, and growing up as a child, Manchester United used to win everything, and they had arguably one of their best managers in the business under Sir Alex Ferguson at the helm. So since Sir Alex Ferguson has retired, the success of Manchester United has diminished beyond recognition. And I think there's a lot of obviously reasons behind the scenes here, but when you look back at the teams that Sir Alex Ferguson created, he had highly capable footballers, clearly, but the one kind of fundamental that I could kind of see was I could see the culture. I could see the characters of that team, that they would die for the club, they would die for one another, they would always outwork the opposition, no matter, even if they were playing against superior footballers. And because collectively they all had the same values, traits, characteristics, they became this force, this winning machine, that even when they weren't playing particularly well, they would find a way. And then that was a really good habit to kind of form, and that team created a winning habit, hence they were arguably one of the most successful football teams of all time. Roll forward a couple of decades or whatever since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, And we've had some of the best managers in world football manage Manchester United but not get the same result. They've had all kinds of different talented players that you could argue some were not as good as what Sir Alex Ferguson had, but some were possibly better in terms of their talent. But why have they not had the same level of success? Well, for me, it's because, you know, they didn't have that team ethic, that culture, those values that everyone was pulling in the same direction. There were too many individual brilliance they might have had, but a collective team pulling in the same direction will always overcome individual brilliance. On the odd occasion, individual brilliance will come out on top, but on the long term, collective culture ethic is going to overcome individual brilliance. And I think that's why I come to this point. You could have the best people in their designated area of skill within your business, and they could be the most qualified to do the job. But if they don't work as a team and they don't have the same characteristics or values, beliefs as everybody else, then people are going to be pulling in different directions. They're not going to be getting along, and you're going to get these disconnects. These disconnects are going to grow into weak spots, and then ultimately they'll become failure points. If you have the right people all believing in the same things, all having the same characteristics, traits, values, even when you've got areas of your business where you're lacking the skill sets or knowledge, if you've got the right values, i.e., you know, a drive for self-improvement, personal development, you could have overcoming adversity. We don't see problems as problems, we see them as opportunities. All these types of things, you know, we never ever settled at where we are. We're always looking for continuous improvement. We're looking for optimization. We're looking for automation. We're looking for AI insights. All these things, that's a mindset. That's a way of life. That if you're up against a situation where you don't have the skill set, do you think those types of people are going to be able to overcome it? Absolutely. They'll find a solution to that problem. Whereas if you've got somebody who's super qualified but doesn't get along with someone who they're working with, no matter how good they are at their job, there's going to be a disconnect between those departments. And that for me is why I believe getting the right people is more important than the right skill sets. Now, as I've said, the biggest caveat is in an ideal world, you want the right people with the right skill set. But sometimes that's hard to find, or it's not attainable or accessible depending on where you are in your business journey. When you're faced with those dilemmas, the key is getting the right people in place. And if you get enough of the right people in place, you'll create this culture of overcoming adversity every step, of succeeding, of progressing. And that type of team is going to be a tough one to stop. So learnings from my diary today are, you know, what do you choose when you can either have someone who has the same values, the same character traits, the same work ethic as you and the rest of your team, or you have someone who's got exceptional skills and experience to do a given job to the highest standard. Well, for me, obviously in an ideal world, you'd have someone who has the same character traits, values and ethics as you and the rest of the team has, who also possesses the right skills. But sometimes that isn't an option. And sometimes you're presented with a choice of thinking that you've got someone with the perfect skill set to complete this job, or you've got someone with the perfect values. And for me, I'll always choose values, ethics, character traits over skills, purely simply because a collective team pulling in the same direction with the right mindset of overcoming adversity, working hard, seeing problems as an opportunity, looking at personal development, you know, always looking to continuously improve. These types of people are going to overcome whatever obstacles they have in their way. You get someone with the right skill set who doesn't get along with other people in the team, there's going to be a disconnect, a breakdown in communication, a failure point. And for me, that's why I'll always pick the right people over the right skill set. As I've said, biggest caveat, if you can get the right person with the right skill set, then you're absolutely winning. But sometimes you don't have that option. So anyway, I hope that's useful. Any questions or comments, drop me a line. I'll respond to everyone. Do remember though, if you believe in my mission of saving the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultramarathon of run blogging on consecutive days, the distance of a lap of the world, effort style, do give this a subscribe, share, like and comment. More people we get in front of, more money we raise, more children's lives we save, which is why I do this every single day. Thank you as always, stay positive, stay happy, and I'll see you again tomorrow.